Today's episode is sponsored by Permanent Hearing Damage, which is a recording studio based in Philadelphia, owned and operated by Steve Roche from Seisha, Off Minor, Boer War, which you're hearing now, and many others. They've spent the last 25 years specializing in recording, mixing, mastering for punk, hardcore, metal, and related genres at artist-friendly prices. Some recent clients include Piers, Foxtails, Masanera, Closer, Rambo, Stinking Lizaveta, Sanagi, and Witching. Contact Permanent Hearing Damage via their website, permanenthearingdamage.com. Hello, and welcome to Everything Remade, a podcast that I hope is about growth as much as it is about music. I'm Edie Quinn, and we have a great show lined up for you today. Before we get started, though, I'd like to remind you about our Patreon page at patreon.com/humanmachine, where you can go to sign up and support the show, read zines, get music sneak peeks, and so much more. That's patreon.com/humanmachine. And now, I'd like to play something for you. You're hearing The Sand That Smooths the Glass by Stress Spells, featuring my pal Jack Carino on guitar and vocals. The song comes from their new LP, Hearts Never Tire, which is out February 6th on Fuzz Records.
I grew up with a lot of music in my family. Like my dad was a jazz musician pretty much all his life. As soon as he graduated high school, I have a couple aunts and uncles that made their own music for as long as I can remember. So to me, it was just like, not to sound corny or anything, but like I always was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like that's just like what I have to make happen. So that was just kind of always like a thing in my mind, like being a musician is like the coolest thing that you can do. And, I just like was super inspired by like, the music that was around my house growing up, like the Beatles and stuff like that. It wasn't really until I was in 5th or 6th grade that I had a close friend of mine actually like put their money where their mouth was and start learning how to play guitar. And that kind of just made me go like, all right, like this is like actually something that you can do. It's not like you don't have to be like some musical virtuoso to actually like, start banging out like a couple 3-chord songs and like learning how to actually play like music. So that kind of lit a fire under me, like, all right, I gotta start too. So I started, borrowing my dad's acoustic guitar and just trying to figure out like Beatles songs here and there to the best of my ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it's weird, like not weird, but it's like that kind of thing can go two ways, right? It's like my kids, like they've been around this the whole like their whole lives and stuff too. But until recently, like my youngest is now in band and they like are obsessed with mostly band instruments, but they also like to play the drums and stuff like that. But like until then, they were just like super not impressed by anything, ever. It was just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, so cool, Oh yeah, you toured Europe, yeah, okay, so cool, But like between my kids, like the coolest thing that I ever did was I went to a place where I played a show in a place called Hamburg because it sounds like hamburger, and it was like that was it. But like, yeah, for you, it was just like, of course I'm going to play music because this is what everyone that I know does. That's like the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you first started trying to play music, it wasn't like, necessarily like it wasn't easy mode either. Like you were going like straight for like Beatles songs, as opposed to a lot of us would be like Ramones or Misfits. Like that, the Misfits were the one that's all my friends. That's how they learned how to play guitar. Is like because it's like really easy. um,
Yeah.
did did you
Yeah. When
find
I
that?
started, sorry,
No, no.
sorry, I'll
I
let you
I was
finish.
just gonna say, did you find that like, was it easy for you to just jump right in and start picking these notes apart?
Well, similar to your kids, when I was in elementary school, they did like a music presentation for us, kind of introducing us to like band and orchestra. And I actually picked up cello as my first instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of did have a basic music understanding from an earlier age, or at least like being able to get my hands around an instrument and kind of, understand what different notes were.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was a little bit intimidated by guitar because, chord shapes, especially with Beatles songs, they always have like crazy, like diminished chords and like bar chords, and that is a lot different than cello at first.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had like a little bit of confidence that I could get my like start to figure it out, but it took a while for me to really start,
Yeah.
making my way around the chord charts and whatnot.
Yeah. It's like when it comes to like weird chords and stuff too. It's like that's such a that's such a like hard place to start, because um you can you could you can be so close but still be quite wrong. Like you can have
Oh
the right
yeah.
notes but be in the wrong spot. And you can, I mean, there's probably an upside and a downside, but it depends, right? Like if your ears are still novice enough, you can just think you're right and you can continue on. But if your ears are past your like skill, then it could be really frustrating because you recognize you're not quite there. Like, how did you feel like you were landing on that?
It's funny you say that because I think that aspect of learning an instrument sticks with you for a long time, and it can honestly make things even harder
Uh huh.
because, my dad was a musician, so he helped me like, here's an E chord and a D chord. But once I found bands like the Ramones or Green Day, and I just realized like you could just wrap your hands around in the same shape and just do power chords.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, I don't need any more of these like tab charts or like, sheet music or anything. I'm just gonna go by ear.
Yeah.
And I started just trying to figure out all like my favorite songs by ear, and come to learn years and years later, like a lot of those songs I was not playing correctly at all. Like
Sure.
my partner also plays guitar, and sometimes like we noodle together, and we were trying to like jam on Where Is My Mind by the Pixies. I was just trying to show them like the lead part, like, yeah, it like goes like this, and then we're sitting there and playing it, and then I realized like this is not how the song goes at all. I just let my like arrogance and like overconfidence make me think that I knew how to play this super simple song because I probably learned it when I was like 12 and was like, yeah, that's good enough. Sounds right.
Yeah. There's a weird like there's there's a weird tons of numbers of things that can happen, like playing like someone else's song, like you can be approximating like one aspect of it perfectly and missing something. And with older like songs, it seems like, but this isn't always the case either, because people have been like doing overdubs and stuff since the 60s and 70s. Like, but it feels like with older stuff, especially like punk and indie, like the lower budget stuff, like when they'd hit the studio, they're they're doing everything like as like live as possible, because so you're hearing this really weird chord, that's somebody playing a really weird chord. Whereas like now, it could be, it's actually not like one chord, it's just a, a guitar dubbed over like three times. And, and so like when you're trying to learn something now, like we'll do our like yearly cover thing. Like I'll be trying to learn something, and I'll watch like a couple people who they'll do a video. They're like, this is a cover video, and I'll be like, yeah, I don't think this person's playing it right, and
Yeah.
you go to the next one and it's different, and you're like, I don't think that's quite right either, and like sometimes you dig into it and it's like, oh, that's because like these people were trying to approximate like two different guitars that were happening. And I don't know, it's kind of fun in that way too, where you're just like, I don't know how they made it sound like that, but I have an idea how I can make it sound like that. That's totally different. And sometimes like it's weird because I've feel like I've made a song sound more like the song by playing it wrong than when I was trying to play it right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like,
think it's cooler to hear like people's interpretations of songs. I mean, those are usually like my favorite kind of covers when someone does something a little differently. Like you don't always want to hear it note for note.
like I think one of my favorite covers that we did was we did a Nine Inch Nails song, like we did Getting Smaller. And I'm like 90% that I did not play any of those parts the like right. But you listen to it and you're like, this is totally that song. And I think it's like one of the best covers that we've done, which is, but when I listen to it, like when I listen to the original, I'm like, I don't think I played any of this right. Like
Yeah.
I was just like pure like, oh yeah, I know, I got it, and went and recorded it. But I don't know, it's good times. Like it's it's wild, just like, you know a lot of people, we come to this stuff on similar tracks. It's like, well, I just started learning by myself, or I had some friend show me, or I was watching YouTube videos. But they still, even if you're on that same track, it can be so different, and I find that stuff super interesting. So when your friends started playing and then you started learning and playing, was the immediate goal like, I'm going to be in a band with my friend, or was that just something that wouldn't happen till way later?
Yeah, I think that was always like my intention. It's like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to be in a band? Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's do this. But it probably took me a long time to really find people even like half dedicated enough to like actually want to like sit down and write songs. But yeah, it was just like a lot of years spent, hanging out in my friends' bedrooms, like trying to play a Green Day song or something like that, which is still fun. Like I do like look back at that time in fondness, like just hanging out with your friends and like figuring it all out together. But it probably wasn't until like middle school or early high school that any of us really like decided to dedicate time to actual like, all right, here's how to write a song, like let's play a show, like let's play this song correctly this time.
Yeah, yeah. Um, for sure. Like just playing, just like two people with guitars in a room playing together, like 10 out of 10 experience. It's just
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, obviously, like you throw a bass player and a drummer in there too. I mean, now you're really going. But like, I don't know, you know, there's times when it was just like me and one of my friends, and we're just like, it's just like super late, and somebody's staying over, and you're just playing guitars, and it's like some of the best memories, from like high school or whatever that I have are just like, you know, you're playing like three chords that you think you're the first person that ever played. You know what I mean? And your friend is just like trying to do something cool over it, or vice versa. And you're just like, this is the best thing that will ever happen to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time being in like my friend's garage, and we like actually met a kid in our school who played drums, and like I don't even remember what it was. It was probably some like simple 3 chord song, just like in 4/4. But like the first 30 seconds of actually like getting through a couple bars, like with a drummer and a bass player, and like we're all stopping and starting at the same time. If you can actually like picture that, it was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is real now. Like we're actually like doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, I can remember like sort of like and I mean the as you when you play later, this is sort of just what happens automatically, but I can remember just being like not like I wasn't even there and then realizing like I'm still actually the one that is doing this and freaking out because I thought I was going to mess up or something. You know what I mean? That was like me when I first started playing with other people. It was like it would just be like this is so fucking cool. This is unbelievable. And then like, oh shit, like am I do you know what I'm saying? Like and
Yeah,
it's almost like that's where I have to get now. Like I have to get there, or else like I feel like I can't play at all. Like if I'm just paying attention, you know. But like I don't know. It's a it's I don't know. It's like I'm always like over here like mystifying the experience and everything, but like I can't not. I just don't understand how like I I just don't understand how like sometimes this is just a thing, you know, that like I don't know. Like stuff happens, people's lives change and stuff, you know, and people go from doing something to doing something else, and that's totally like understandable. Like I just don't understand like people that like fall out of love with music. You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying.
yeah,
Um,
it is weird in that it took me a long time to like like, and still like probably even recently in my life, like it took me a while to like grasp like there are gonna be some people that like just are not as obsessed as I am,
mhm.
and like maybe they want to pursue other things, and like that's cool, but it can be a little heartbreaking to like, especially like when it comes to like friends, like we were talking about before, that you would like sit in each other's rooms and like try to figure songs out. And they just kind of like eventually put that guitar or put the bass down, and it just starts collecting dust, and then you got to start from scratch and figure it out on your own.
Yeah, it's wild. Like there's some friends of mine that like one of my friends, you know, that I was really just talking about, you know, like that I'd sit around and we'd like play guitar and um like he was one of the most talented people that I've ever played with, and like I never heard like a single like after we weren't in a band anymore together and like I moved away. um I would visit every once in a while and like we'd hang out and like we'd still like we'd get guitars out and we'd play, and he'd be like, "Oh, this is a song I've been working on," and it was like great, and literally just like never, as far as I know, ever recorded another song, released another song, and it's like it's wild, like you know, um, but like you know maybe I don't know maybe like obviously there's a million things that you know made that the way that that is, but it is just like kind of a like damn I want to hear those songs kind of situation, you
Yeah,
know. um
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but what would you say like where about like in your life or like how old were you or whatever when you did like get you know in sort of like your first serious band where you were writing songs that were your own songs and trying to like play shows and stuff like that?
I think I was like about 13.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, me like probably middle to like end of middle school. Me and a couple friends like started getting together regularly and actually, tried working towards uh, writing songs. And it was kind of a similar thing with my friend who started playing guitar before me. Like I had one of the kids came to practice one day, like I wrote a song, and that just like blew my mind that someone would like have the guts to actually like try to come up with something seriously and then show it to other people. And I think I just kind of fed off that energy, and then we kind of all traded off like bringing ideas and like songs together until we eventually, had like an almost full set of original material, which I cringe to like think about what those songs sounded like, but I do kind of hold that like as a pretty big accomplishment in my life that I was actually like we were able to like it's just like a bunch of stupid kids that didn't know any better like create something, which I think is cool.
I want nothing more than to be rid of this pain. I want nothing more than to be rid of this pain. Lifetime losing it up like a victim of a concept. Things good, what's them? Things good, things good, things bad, what's them? Things all the bad. All the same.
It's kind of weird. Like, I know what you're saying, but in my case, like, right, like, um, I had only been playing guitar for like 3 months, and this kid asked me to join his band. I was like, okay, and um, like it was like him and his brother and this drummer they knew, and they had been playing together for a while, but like it wasn't like when I joined the band, they were like, oh, like we're a band. So hadn't
Yeah.
been playing long, and they were showing me the songs they wrote, and it was like I was like, yeah, like I thought I wasn't in any position to like say anything, so I just kind of went along with it because I was just it was like that thing, right? You're just so stoked. You're like playing music with people like for real. And so the one of the songs I was like already aware at that time, I was like, this is the riff from Smells Like Teen Spirit with like other
Yeah.
stuff in the middle, you know? And so when I started writing my own songs, I was just like, I was informed by, I was just like, you can just like, you know how like somebody just has like this song that's like three chords and it goes from like the third fret and then it jumps down and then it goes to the seventh fret or whatever. Like you can just decide like numbers and you can just put three chords together and you can play them and you can say that sounds good or that sounds bad. And so I wrote my first song like basically like that, just like whatever. And they were like, yeah, this is cool. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And I wrote like six more songs like that, just like deciding like I'm gonna play on these frets, and like I don't know if that's how everybody starts, but that's basically what I did. Well, the thing is like that band recorded, and all those other people had been playing their instruments like for years, and I still have that tape, and I won't tell anybody about it, and I'll never play it for anybody. But I listened to it like a few years ago, and I was like, this is so dumb, but my songs are as good as their songs. Like it, you know what I mean? Like, so it's
Like
like,
just picking the numbers randomly
yeah,
that it
just
landed
like,
you on par with the stuff that they were coming up with. That's
yeah.
awesome.
And it's like that to me, that's just like further proof that you don't need to wait around for anybody else to like say what you're doing is cool or give you pointers or whatever. You can literally just like however you figure that you need to get started, you can literally just get started and go ahead, and it probably won't be any worse or better than anyone who's like been doing it for a couple years already. I mean, certainly once you get past like the like 3 years like jamming with your friends thing, like certainly there's levels that people get to or whatever. But like if you're just like, oh, I'm I'm probably no good at this, like who fucking cares, you know? Like,
Yeah.
just go for it. But yeah, it's
Yeah, it's like
wild.
even when you're in a band and it's like you got to play 100 really terrible shows that 5 people come to get one decent show where people are actually like fucking with what you're doing. You got to write like 100 super cringy songs before you can write one halfway decent one.
I'm probably still working on that, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
no, no.
But yeah, it's, I mean, I don't know. And of course, there's always the other thing where there's some band and this is like these people's first band and they're all 16 and they're fucking amazing and you're like, you know what? Go to hell, but good for you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So it can go either way, but it's just like, yeah, the story that I always like hear is like people like are like, I didn't think I was good enough. And it's like, nobody is. Don't worry about it, you know? But yeah, when you were like 13 or 14, you start writing your own songs. Are you like trying to play your friends' birthdays and like parties and stuff like that, or were you just was shows and stuff not a thing for a while?
It really wasn't a thing. It was super mystifying to us how bands could play shows. Like
Hmm.
there were a couple other bands in town. Come to find out they just kind of had parents that like did everything for them, if you can imagine. Like I think they like were able to get their kids' bands into like the local bar or whatever. But it was kind of just like whoever would let us play. Like I think the first show we did was kind of all the local musicians did this fundraiser thing at a local cafe for I think a like a cancer research um fundraiser type event,
Hmm.
and we pulled up there and did that. There were like a couple battle of the bands at our high school. But yeah, it was a long time before we were able to like tap into DIY or even like the birthday party thing. Like that wasn't really an option for us for a while.
Yeah. Um. So would it be a while before you went to like your first like DIY show as well? Like the
Y-
more closer to the shows that we play and know about now.
Yeah, it wasn't until high school where um one of my friends told me like, yeah, like Pine Grove and Sorority Noise are playing a show at somebody's house in Montclair, and I was like, that is that a thing? Like, won't the cops come or something like that? And they're like, no, it's like totally legit. Like real bands play at this guy's house like all the time, and I was able to convince my parents to let me, take the bus over to Montclair. And then, just as they had said, like I pulled up and everyone's standing in this guy's driveway. And I think there were probably like 100 people crammed into this tiny basement, like screaming along to, the bands that were playing. And that would be like my first experience, I think, was a house show, which I think was like the first time I ever heard of that happening. It was totally transformative and like inspiring at the time.
Yeah. What kind of stuff were you listening to when you were first exposed to that?
I mean, I kind of knew about, all your like kind of starter like indie rock and like grunge stuff like that. I had heard like I knew Sunny Day Real Estate and like a couple of those like early emo kind of Jimmy Eat World bands, if you would call it that. But it wasn't until about then that I kind of started hearing more about like those bands I mentioned, kind of like a mid tier, like underground sort of uh, scene like that. I was super, super obsessed with Nirvana. That was kind of the only thing I cared about. That was like the gold standard of music to me at the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised you didn't say Thursday because I thought that like Thursday was just, I thought that was like sort of what you, when you got into middle school, they gave you like, Full Collapse on vinyl or something when you were from Jersey. But
Yeah,
no,
that might have been like a little past my time. I
yeah.
didn't even really know about them for much longer, and it took me a minute to really like swallow that one because I'd never like to be honest, it took me a while to really get into that like deep personal like vulnerable type of like emo, I guess.
Huh.
I guess I was like a bit of a tough guy for a bit there.
Excuse me. I I have a lozenge in, and just swallowed cough drop juice. It was nasty. Um, like while you have the lozenges, you're swallowing it the whole time, but that was just like a lot at once. Um,
Oh geez.
but how did you like? You say you're obsessed with Nirvana. How would you equate like? I know it's different, but like I feel like um, I feel like, huh? Was it just like the approach of like the vocals or because like that doesn't seem that dissimilar when you're talking about like vulnerability or like sort of the subversive aspect of like the lyrics and stuff like that. How did you feel that those two were so like night and day for you?
I think at the time it was just like that was a lot easier for me to wrap my head around because it was a lot closer to like punk,
Mm-hmm.
like Black Flag and like Minor Threat, things like that that kind of like started getting me into more underground music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just like the straightforwardness and the catchiness of it like really resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, like going to that show and kind of experiencing that music firsthand led me to discover a lot more other bands. I think like Title Fight and Basement were bands that were kind of popping off during that time. Really kind of introduced me to more variation in my record collection, I guess.
Uh huh. Then how long till you would like hear like Tom's bands and stuff and be like, oh shit, like this shit's been happening since I was like you know,
Yeah, that took me a minute because I wasn't really going to the right kinds of shows. It was a lot of like more indie, I guess like punk shows.
mm-hmm.
Um Eventually like some of my friends that were into heavier music started like doing things seriously, and I kind of just by brute force were like, you guys are really good. I don't really understand this music yet, but I want to be part of it. And I joined that band Woodland Tomb for a bit, and that introduced me to like the heavier scene that was going
Oh,
on.
okay.
A lot of shows like at the Meat Locker. I don't know if you're familiar, but
Worst show I ever
that's like,
played there. Yeah. Not
oh yeah,
not their
yeah.
fault. It was our fault, but but yeah. It was just like we had two shows that day and the second one was at the Meat Locker and the guitar player was like, "We can play a different set. It's fine." And it wasn't fine.
Yeah, everyone's had mixed experiences there, I would say. But
Yeah. Usually people are
one time
like,
we got booked.
it's the venue, but I'm saying 100% in my case it was not the venue's fault.
Yeah,
Your experience is probably different, but
yeah. Everyone's gotten, it's got character. I don't, I
yes,
don't
yeah.
really know what more to say than that.
Yeah,
You either,
it'll season you one way or another.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
definitely cut my teeth in as far as like operating in the world of music, like figuring it out at a place like that
Uh-huh.
really prepared me for a lot.
That's awesome.
But
Um
we got onto the show with that band I was mentioning, Woodland Tomb. We got onto the show with this band Scavengers that Tom actually played drums in for a bit,
uh-huh.
and I don't think he knew who we were, and that was probably the first time he had seen us. And he came up to us after we played and was like, "Hey, I really like your guys' energy. My band Hundreds is playing a show next month. I'd love you guys to hop on. And that's when that's like the first time I recall seeing like capital S screamo in person, which again, like I discredited for a long time because like, oh, isn't that kind of like cringy, like kind of hard on your sleeve, like performative music, I guess. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote it off for a really long time, but then he asked us to play the show, and we get there, and it's Massanera, hundreds of AU, sick shit who would go on to become Gel,
Mm-hmm.
and Adam from Stress Spell's other band, Permanent Tension.
Mm-hmm.
That was members of Capacities
Yep.
and Four Fingers.
Chris Cups on the
And
drums.
yep,
Yep.
yep. But I was like, the beginning of the show started, and I was like, I don't know about this. But by the end of it, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever experienced. Like all these bands have this like intensity and like technical flair about them that that had never really occurred to me before. And after that, it was kind of all downhill for me because I would be trying to put these scrams parts into like a grindcore or a black metal song,
Mm-hmm.
and my friends were just not having it. So kind of had to move on and make my own way after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think it's just like the term screamo, you know, it means different things to different people. And so when you hear that out of the context that you understand it now, like you're probably thinking like I don't I don't even know if I've like heard these bands, so it's just like but we used to call them target screamo, where it's like the bands that you could also call it hot topic screamo. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like Pierce the Veil or something. That's the first name that comes to mind. Um,
They got tracks though. I
well,
can't front.
that's what I'm saying. Like I don't even know if I've heard them, so I don't even mean this like disrespectfully. Like it's just a different thing. Like Under Oath is a good one, right? It's like I like They're Only Chasing Safety. I think it's a great album up to the last song, but that's Target screamo. That's different. It's screamo you
Yeah,
could play on the radio, and it's not what we do at all. So like, I can see how somebody is like, "Oh, screamo, that's My Chemical Romance. That's Under Oath. That's this or whatever," and they'd be like, "Isn't that kind of like cringe? Isn't that kind of like, isn't this all just like sort of like the most exaggerated like whatever?" And we're like, sort of on the other side, we're like, it is sort of the most exaggerated thing ever still, except it's like as real and as raw as it could be, as opposed to like as refined and whatever as it can be, you know?
yeah,
But that's awesome that like, Tom like reached out to you like that and stuff and sort of like, like come do this thing,
yeah. I'm super, super grateful for that. It was like, I wish, like, again, probably would have cringed if I heard what we sounded like back then. But for him, a guy who has done so much in the scene and played with so many bands to like take a chance on like a couple kids still in high school to play the show with like actual serious musicians, like I don't know if he just needed to fill a spot or if he actually thought we were good, but that show definitely was like a big turning point in like
yeah.
what I wanted to do in music.
Well, that Woodland Tomb EP that I had found, like, and then you ended up sending me as well, like, um, that shit was awesome. Like, uh, I can't remember what it was described as, but it was like it said something. I think it said something about like black metal, but like y'all had like a description on there that was like ambiguous, but for good reason. But like I was listening to it and I was like, I really like the way it was produced. It wasn't produced like typical black metal, which is like not saying anything against that. That is what it is, but that's what like made me think this isn't actually black metal. And like I just liked it in that it reminded me a lot of like the the s- the thrash stuff that I would listen to like when I was a little ass kid, like literally been listening to like thrash and stuff since I was like 10 years old. But like um and I was, you know, I get to sort of the middle of that EP and I'm like, okay, I mean, the vocals were always sort of like that's where this is going to remind you of black metal. But then in the middle, I'm like, okay, this is like I get it. This is like leaning a little more black metal. But then like we were listening to it and I said to my wife, "Oh, here right here, you know how the drums break down on this like part like the guitars didn't necessarily change and the drums were doing like a blast and then they like go to like halftime or something." I'm like, a black metal band would never do that. That's how this is different. And I loved it. I
Yeah, I
was
mean,
like, yeah.
that was just like classic, like high school band. Like, we're just gonna put all of our influences on the same thing and like figure out the genre tag later, which
Yeah.
like I thought was really inspiring at the time. That was like the first heavy band I had ever been in. I was like pretty ignorant to a lot of the stuff that were probably coming through in the like the influences of that at the time. But definitely through like hanging out with those kids, I discovered a lot of music that was like super I would say like that stuff like sticks with me to this day. Like all the crust influences from like His Hero Is Gone and
Mhm.
like Fall of Ephrafa, Downfall of Gaia, like all that stuff like definitely like put me on to a lot of new things that I probably wouldn't have discovered otherwise. And like also just like definitely carved out my chops a little bit as a player, you know, because
Mhm.
you can't like if you're gonna play that fast and that hard, like, and you're not doing it right, people are gonna tell. So I think, you know, definitely like built up my speed and like dexterity as a player.
We're in love with the cycle. I don't see a problem. Falling down, shot box like bullets. Time to step. The life don't see a problem. I was myself. Give it up. The program of self-compromise. Don't see a problem. Don't see a problem. Don't see a problem.
If this was one of your first things for sure, then that EP is like really impressive. I really enjoyed it a lot actually, and I especially for like it being kind of like one of the first things that you know had done or whatnot. Like I listened through it and I didn't even catch one "Here Comes Santa Claus." Like there was one almost, but and I'll explain this. Like 90
What's the Here Comes Santa
I,
Claus?
okay, 90% of metal or black metal or whatever, you're going to have a "Here Comes Santa Claus" in there. And that's the riff that goes. And you were almost there, but not there. It was like somebody was like, and I said to my wife, I said, they almost summoned Santa Claus, but not quite. Because it was like, there was
That's
like
so
a,
funny. I've never heard that before.
yeah, but everyone is like, you know, so many times the like there'll be that in there and that's why I'm like, here comes Santa Claus. They're summoning Santa. I can't even say it right. Summoning Santa Claus, but you did not summon Santa Claus in that.
I
But
think just like every band, like everyone discovering like heavy, like extreme music hears that first that middle part in Saddest Day by Converge, that
Yeah.
like tremolo picking part, and just works that into every song that they write.
Yeah, you can't help it. It's gonna pop up in there one time. I mean, um, we don't we don't we don't go that close to that kind of stuff most of the time. But I think like I think out of 200 and almost 40 songs now, like I think that there was a "Here Comes Santa Claus" in one of our songs, and I was like, it's fine, just let it happen. I can't remember which one now, and I'm not listening through all of them to find it. But if I do find it, I'll expose myself. Um, but yeah, it's almost a rite of passage, and you
Oh
know,
yeah, absolutely.
um,
That and the Avenged Sevenfold riff.
which one's that?
There's that like I can't remember the name. I was just making me feel like a huge poser right now. But there's like this arpeggiated like metalcore riff that is in every like metalcore screamo band that you hear now, which I love. It's like we all learned how to play guitar doing that part, and it's just like worked into everything once you're starting like playing heavy music.
Yeah, I actually like I think way too much about like just like you know in art in general. There's so much like there's so much that's already exists, right? So like how could you possibly be able to make something that is completely 100% like never been done before? Somebody has played that drum beat before. Somebody's, if they haven't played the drum beat, they've played that succession of guitar chords. If they haven't played that succession of chords, that's impossible, right? I mean, like, but like maybe like even if they didn't play it in exactly the same like rhythm or strumming or whatever, somebody has played those chords in that order before. Let's just face it, it doesn't matter, you know.
I think you just gotta embrace it.
Right, and that's my whole thing is like there's the other aspect of that is that like ideas, and this comes up in writing and stuff like so much, where it's like ideas are nothing. Like everybody is like, I have an idea for a thing, it's the greatest, it's not. No, your idea is does not matter. It's like how it's the execution of it, and like how you deliver it. And in a band it's how you deliver it as a group. In other kinds of art, it's however that set of people with those sets of skills deliver it. And it's just like, yeah, we gotta like at some point, if you've written a bunch of songs, you're gonna summon Santa Claus. Like you're just going to. And if you did it
He's coming.
yeah, he's coming to town. And if you did it a little different, then awesome. And if it was key in getting you from the part before that to the part after it, and those two parts like are amazing, then like it's fine. It doesn't, but yeah, it's, I don't know, like this kind of like thinking where like the minute that I recognized that something was derivative or whatever, like kept me from finishing songs for like years. And so
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like huge about just let it sit there. It's fine. Like just let it sit there and keep moving. But
Yeah, I think everyone has a song where there's a part that you definitely either knowingly or unknowingly stole from somebody else, and you just kind of white knuckle it through the rest of your life thinking, I really hope no one calls me on this one.
now I wrote a song called "The Thief Who Craves Capture" because like I will specifically recognize oops, and I'll just be like, show me that you found me, like show me that you know what I like. Because like I think that's beautiful too. I think like that being that someone like of course you're not trying to just like straight up like take the riff from Teen Spirit like my friend did when I like you're not trying to just do that, but like if you're unwittingly later like, oh, that's pretty close to this, but it's not the same thing. Like, but somebody else is like, hey, that's kind of that thing. Like, that is beautiful to me because someone's like, you like the same thing that I do. You know that I like that. And like we real recognize real. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like
it's like a celebration of the art form
yeah,
is the
yeah.
way I just try to think of it.
Like there's there's so much of this like there's so much of this that my it's like we're working in these circles that of this like thing where someone like people have been only doing kind of what we do for like 25 years, but it's been done a lot of times in 25 years.
Oh yeah.
So like we're working in these circles that are so small and it's the whole world, but like a screamo band's only going to sell 500 copies of something. That's small, you know? So like we're all over each other to an extent, creatively and whatever else. And like, so my band Akamili had this riff, and like Akamili was like a lot of people know who that band is, and it's weird to me, but because we only ever even had like 8 songs or something, but like still people are like, I heard Akamili, and they're from some other country that I've never been to, and I'm like, this is wild. And then like Swilaloon has a song on that reality LP that's like that. It's like they heard that Akamili riff and put it right on their LP. They probably never
Interesting.
did, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? In my head, I'm like, cool. They like Akamili, but probably never heard it. But it's like that kind of thing. Like it's not a turnoff for me. It's I don't know. But yeah, you know, I am famous for getting sidetracked, or I'm not famous, but that's what I do. Um, but like stress bells, it seems to be like the other bands that you sent me, and I checked them out. Like they were all cool. They all had like sort of their own thing, but it seems to be this is the the band that you more or less are like you're putting the most of yourself in, and you're like, especially now with like the vinyl coming and stuff, you're putting out into the world in a way that you haven't before. Like, how did this all get started?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the case here. Like this is the band that I've wanted to be in since I was like a sophomore in high school, you know. So it was a long time coming getting this like outfit together. Um I sent over a lot of bands. I played in a lot of different bands over the years. A lot of the times it was just like these are my friends or this is like who needed a bass player at the
Mm-hmm.
time. But I kind of got burnt out on that for a while and ended up just kind of quitting. Like I think I was probably in like 4 or 5 bands at the same time at once, like just out of frustration. And it took me a while to really find people who were down to make the kind of music that I was trying to make until I found I think like I ended up just making a Facebook post like, hey, I'm trying to start a band that sounds like Botch and like Hot Cross and Neil Perry, which I don't think we even ended up sounding like that much to a certain extent. But Jill and Adam reached out, which was super surprising to me because they're kind of part of like the generation of music, like the generation of like the scene that was happening when I was like in high school, going to shows and like discovering all these bands.
Mm-hmm.
And I always looked up to them for so long. Jill was in this sick band called Ides, as well as Inertia, just like super scrappy, raw, power violence, mathcore, like kind of all mashed up into one. Adam, who I'm sure you've heard of, has been in an uncountable, untraceable amount of amazing
Off
bands.
Camber, Bury Yourself, De facto in Scripture. Yeah.
Yeah, someone's got to like make a documentary about that guy. Like it's really
Like
crazy to me.
the one of the most ridiculous guitar players going right now for sure.
Oh yeah, I could smoke anyone I've ever met
Yeah,
or heard.
just ridiculous.
But they ended up both hitting me up and being like, "Hey, we're down for this." Ad, Adam, we didn't have a drummer. I was out looking for a bass player and a drummer, and Adam was like, "I've never played drums like in a heavy band, like seriously, but I think like I'm envisioning a montage of me drinking protein smoothies and practicing, and like I think I could get up to get up to par, and that's all I needed because it's like you've heard him play. Like I had no doubt in his ability that he'd be able to master drums just like he's mastered pretty much every other craft you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And I was just super stoked, and we ended up, you know, towards the tail end of the pandemic, getting together, like masked up. There's really nothing else to do except like come up with song ideas and jam. Um, and that went on for about 6 months before we started, actually getting some songs together. And by that time, shows were starting to happen again. And yeah, we just started playing out, recorded a demo, and it was kind of off from there.
Did Adam play drums on the demo?
Yeah, the first two songs that we put out, he
Oh,
he
okay.
played drums.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't
it
aware
wasn't
of that.
until we put out the split with Pyre, Final Resting Pose, and Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm that he switched over to guitar, and then we had Kevin from Kissies join in to play drums.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is that who still drums?
Yeah, same lineup.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure that I knew the drummer from anywhere before. We never played with Kissies, but I'm aware of them obviously. Great band. Um
Yeah, they were tight.
yeah. So uh y'all had the demo and then you put out that split. What was the like how did the split come together? Because it's like it's not like random bands, it's like bands that are you're like, yeah, this makes sense, and they're probably all friends and stuff, but like was it digital only?
No, we actually
Oh, okay.
the idea was like I think how it initially started was I realized that there were like enough bands in New Jersey playing close enough to the same style of music that you could actually all fit them onto one show. So I put on this like I guess you'd call it like a fest um that I actually named after an Orchid song, New Jersey versus Valhalla,
Oh, right.
which is something that I do every year, but that's kind of how we all kind of met each other was through
Hmm.
that and playing that show. And I think like after it, we all kind of just like got together and we're like, I guess the next logical thing is for us to all do a split. So that's how that came about. Just kind of playing shows and that fest kind of all getting us together in one room.
Yeah, did you make a tape, or like how did the split get
Yeah,
released?
we put out I think like 100 tapes,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, that it was just one run, but it's still up on streaming right now.
Yeah, I didn't see anything on the thing, and I was like, it'd be wild if these four bands were just like, fuck it, let's just do a digital split. And like, I think that's like, it's, I think that kind of thing is like, I don't, in a way, I wish more bands just did that. You know what I mean? Like bands
Just
don't.
did digital instead of
I just
physicals.
just like if you're just pals with bands and you're like, we got one song we got nothing to do with, and you're like, us too, and like you're just like, let's knock them out and let's put a split out. Like I think that I understand obviously the like you made this thing, it's your baby, and you want to see it for real in the world. But I think like there's just I think that it's underrated to just be like, let's just like me and three of my friends bands just like make a split and put it online, and that'll be it. Like I just think that there's people think that if you don't make a physical thing of it, it's not important. And I hate that idea. You know what I mean? Like as much as I do,
Yeah.
like I I love to make the physical thing, and so that's why I always make the physical thing. Like cuz I want to figure out, is there a new way that I can put this in, is there a new way that I can put a tape into some pieces of paper or something that I've never thought of before? So it's like my brain always goes there. But I would love
I
it.
think that's super valid.
Yeah, I would love it if bands were just like, no, there's no thing. It's just like just the thing. It's just our friends and us, and we were just like, wouldn't it be sick if we released some songs together, you know? But
Yeah, I think having like the physical thing is cool, and obviously like everyone wants a memento of like
yeah, yeah,
that thing that you accomplished together. But I do kind of agree with you, especially just like because you know how expensive it is to put out physical media, and I think it's like CDs aren't really cool, which I don't really understand because listening to a CD in a car I think is like the best way to listen to music, but no one really wants to do that anymore,
yeah,
and you can't afford vinyl, so you're like, all right, so we'll do a tape. But it's like, who has a tape player? You
yeah.
know?
I mean, especially
It's like
like,
who's like I'm sure people have them, but it's like if I could go back in time, I probably would have just pushed to like do a CD because at least like people could actually listen to it, you know?
yeah, I think like I think that it's like I like to make like I like to make CD things the same way that I like to make tape things. Like I like to think like, oh, how can I put a CD, like, you know, with my zines. Like I was like, I want to have CDs come with this zine. How can I make the CD go into the zine? And it's like my brain lives for that shit. Like you have one of the zines, right? It's like that's really cool. Like the CD goes right in the page of the zine, and it like won't come
Yeah.
out unless you want it to. So like my like if I want to make a CD of something, my brain goes to all those places anyway, and I'm just like, that's like I love that, like, because I mean I'm an old lady that likes arts and crafts, you know. So, um,
Yeah.
but like, but I hate the fact that, and this goes like up that ladder, right? Because like, you know, like I hate the fact that it's not valid unless there's a thing made. I think it's always valid. It's awesome to just make music for because you like to, and then like I hate that there's like a rung of validity. Like CDs, oh, not that important. Tapes, little better. Vinyl, okay, now it's important. Like I hate that rung of validity. Like if you make an album and you poured your whole ass into it, like it's fucking valid. It's awesome. Like be proud of that shit, and you know, tell everybody to listen to it. And that's just like that's my whole thing. It's like I think making the stuff is cool, but like also just being like, we gave you the music. Like that's like what more could you ask
Yeah.
for?
I
You
think
know?
like I think there might I think we're due for like a cultural shift in like figuring out a way to actually show support to bands through that like digitally because like you
It's
know
expensive. Yeah, the physical
it's
stuff.
expensive and it's like it's hard to like get people to like I have I have this friend who's always like, why aren't you like you like this album, why aren't you buying it on Bandcamp,
Hmm.
if nothing else just to support the artist?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing like people like can't wrap their heads around because it's like with like the TikTokification and like the dumpster fire that is like Spotify like not paying artists. It's like how are bands gonna see any return off of something they invested so much time into? So they're like, well, if we put out a tape or like put out a CD, at least like we'll have something we can get into people's hands and like
Hmm.
be able to like make enough money to get to the next show or record.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Well, your new thing, uh, to go back to that, it is coming out February 6th, and it's called Hearts Never Tire. Um, it's it's more or less an LP, right? Would you consider it an LP or just like a long
I'd say
EP?
it's a
Or
screamo
okay,
LP.
fair, right? Um, you've released the first song and the last song, which I thought was a bold move. I thought it was bold to like give people like the like this is where you start and this is how it ends. It's like I always think like if you give people the last track, like they're gonna they're gonna they're gonna get how it concludes. So they're I don't know. That's a weird thing. Like I don't think it's weird that y'all did it. The last song is fucking awesome. But like you're really like you need to get this so you need to come back for the meat of
Yeah.
this meal, or whatever. But it's coming out on Fuzz Records. I'm not familiar. Like, what else have they done, and how did you get hooked up with them?
They put out that band Reaper's Gong. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's Spencer from Full of Hell's like kind of like Harvey Milk like noise rock band, and they
Oh,
have
okay.
this other really dope band on there called Prize that we played a show with earlier this year. And I think through that's like kind of how uh, they found out about us. I'd have to assume. I'm not too sure.
Okay. So
Oh,
they
oh
just
no,
hit you
I'm
up,
totally
like,
forgetting. They're re-releasing the two EPs that our friends in Sunrot put out,
oh, okay.
and I think through that they made the link to
Okay.
us.
They're releasing that like it's the two EPs onto one LP Sunrock
Yeah, yeah.
collection thing. Yeah, that's awesome.
Hmm.
That's where else I've heard the name then. It's like I didn't know if it's just like I thought I heard the name before because like it Fuzz Records it sounds like it's a thing. You know what I mean? Like it's like oh yeah it
Yeah,
makes
I mean it's
sense.
definitely a thing.
No, I didn't mean it like that. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah,
like
yeah. I'm just
Fuzz
kidding.
Records, Fuzz Pedal. Like it's like a
Hmm.
word you hear enough. So have I heard of this before, or was I like Berenstein bearing myself or whatever? But yeah, it's very cool. So did y'all already have like the songs ready to go? Were you already like recording and then they reached out, or how'd that work out?
We
That
were Yeah, we were probably halfway through the very long recording process of putting those 9 songs together when they reached out and like said they wanted to work with us, and I think they were initially were looking into like maybe re-releasing our demo or the split, but spoiler alert, both those songs have new versions that were re-recorded that are on the album, and I was just like, well, this is way better. You should put this out instead. And they were down for it for some reason. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I answered the question right.
no, that's awesome. Um, well, like I said before, this is coming February 6th. You can pre-order it now, correct?
Yeah.
Do you have some like release shows lined up or anything like that? Like,
Yeah, we're going to be playing a couple like tri-state area shows shortly after the album comes out, and then we're soon to be announcing a little tour
okay,
following that.
awesome. The tour um are you leaving? Are you going further than you're used to, or
We're gonna go down to like the south, like southern, hit the southern states. We've been down there once before, like North Carolina, but yeah, it's probably the longest drive we're gonna do in one shot.
awesome? Um, can you tell people where those release shows or any of those shows are going to be? Like, do you want
We're
to
gonna
put
be
those out there?
we're gonna be doing our official release show at Cinco de Mayo in New Brunswick on March. I gotta get the dates out.
Okay.
I'm like scrambling to book 12 shows at once, so I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, our release show is going to be March 1st at Cinco de Mayo in New Brunswick. It's a family-owned Mexican restaurant that has hardcore shows. So, what more could you want?
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, it's been awesome chatting with you. I try to keep these around an hour, and yeah, we got way off track, but we were talking about some fun stuff. But is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Uh, not that, not that comes to mind. I don't know. Check out the singles if you like them. Want to pre-order the record? That'd be great.
And that was my conversation with Jack Carino. Thank you so much, Jack, for taking the time to chat with me. I really had a blast. Make sure y'all check out that Woodland Tomb EP that we were talking about, as well as pre-order Hearts Never Tire from Fuzz Records. And thank you all for listening wherever you are. Until next time, take care and do good things.